Oh, I bet. Is that for here where I am, Blade? By the way, everything's live now. But like the past week, it's been nice and warm, and then it snowed and got cold. Yeah. So it's like it maintained a good 60 degrees for a few days, and then it just got freezing. I don't know where it went.
Right.
Like 60 to like -2.
Well, it went from 60, it was 68 here the other day down to yesterday. I think the high was like 28, 22 or something like that, 23. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Cold front pushed down.
Cold front pushed down. Yuki, can you hear us well? Okay, but other than that, today we're going to be focusing
Which tier
on...
9 are you talking about?
It's the French tier 9. It's a French tier 9. It's like the Chafia. It's a tier 9. Okay, but other than that, I want to go over the commander changes.
It's not for sale.
That means they just removed it. You missed out. You missed out on getting your hands on that.
The char for tier
yeah, the char for tier 4.
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
It was on sale for like
for
12,000. You missed out. That sucks, Blade. That sucks. That's actually a pretty decent tier 9. Okay.
Matter of fact,
now,
there's no 9s for sale right now.
There usually isn't. Okay, Blade. Now's the time to mention what we're gonna do before we do it. Okay?
Okay.
But okay, but
I need to pay attention then, right?
Yeah, pay really good attention. Fantastic attention. Okay, but they changed the garage UI once again, which for newer players can be a little confusing. You know what I mean? Because the more that they change the UI, the more that they change everything else, it's going to be really confusing for the new player experience. But the commander change that they recently did, I actually do like this, but the thing is, it still costs, so we can take a skill. We can go, actually have to go skill swap, and you can skill swap for 40,000. I'm actually wondering right now, she is equipped on the T44-100. Let's actually do... There's one thing I haven't tried yet. Let's transfer this to an American crew. Skill swap. It's not going to charge us gold. So right there, rather than paying 60 gold to transfer, it's literally just a skill swap and then skill swap back for 45,000. I'd rather pay 45,000 than 120 gold.
Right?
Yeah. So
it is a silver swap now.
Yeah, it's just a skill swap. But the fact is they haven't really fixed it.
But you still,
because whenever you go to skills,
can't change just one.
Yeah, you still can't change one. Whenever you hit respec, it still charges you full price rather than just one. You know, so this is one thing that they should work on. Another thing is since they're starting to buff tanks and they're taking away guns and they're making tier 10s, for instance, with multiple guns, you know, because multiple guns means different builds, different scenarios. For instance, like the E100, one thing that does irritate me that they took out of the game was the fact that we could spend 10 gold to demount equipment. Now we have to actually sell it for half the price. So beforehand, there were some tanks out there. It's like, I like to run multiple build types. And I guess one of the major reasons why they make it to where it only sells for half price is because of what Clone Guy did a few years ago or 2 years ago or so, whenever they were announcing that equipment was going to be half off. So he bought a ton of equipment for half off, and then as soon as the update got reverted, he spent gold to demount it all, to get all that silver.
Yep.
So he bought spa liners, he bought everything else is super pricey that was half off, and got it all taken out.
Doubled his money.
Doubled it. For me, I hate the fact that I have to sell it for 250,000. Rather than giving us silver back, they should give us another option to actually remove the equipment outright because they added a new feature in game giving us vouchers, you know? So
Right.
why not demount it and it gives us a voucher for it? So you pay the 10 gold to get a voucher for the equipment. That way, you know, we're not getting silver back, but we still retain the equipment by paying gold.
Right.
Another thing is you know, as a content creator, as a person who reviews tanks, even though I've been slacking off the past few weeks on actually reviewing tanks because I've just been playing everything else and being a complete slacker. There is, each time I buy a new tank, I don't know if anyone else experienced this. If you guys have, drop it in chat or leave it in the comments if you're catching this after the fact. But whenever I bought the EBR, the tier 8, it actually came pre-equipped with that equipment. So for me, that like, to me, that's wrong. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is the equipment I was going to run on it anyways, with the advanced concealment, advanced optics, and improved ventilation. But the fact is, I would actually much prefer those to be vouchers rather than equipped. Because let's say, whenever the K91 version 2 first came out, it gave me vouchers. So it gave me optics, vertical stabilizers, and improved ventilation. Thing is, vertical stabilizers I was not going to use on the tank, which means that if I would have bought that and it came pre-equipped with all those equipped on it, that I'm actually going to be losing out on gold. I mean, don't get me wrong, buying these bundles is a complete waste of money to begin with, just because they're overpriced by like 10%. Like, it may say 20% off right up on the front screen, but in fact, they're overpriced by 800 to 500 gold every single time. Another thing is that if they convert the equipment and make it to where you use gold to demount and get a voucher back, you know, it's not like you demount all your tanks and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I have an abundance of silver. No, I lose gold, but I gain vouchers. That way for my E100, whenever I go back to the big boy gun to the 15 centimeter, I can change out my optics for advanced reload. Or another case that they could do is add in secondary equipment to where, like, before you start the match or each time you change out a weapon, make it to where it's like, would you like to use your first configuration and not reset your equipment with this new gun? So like whenever you swap guns, you get new equipment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like whenever you swap guns, how it remembers what ammunition you have, make it to where it also remembers what equipment was there as well. Or give us 2 equipment loadouts that we can swap back and forth like PC has. That way it can be a little bit more versatile. Because for me, with multi-weapons, because, you know, now the E100 has 2 competitive guns, and it's like you don't just want to use one, you want to use both. Because it really just depends on the day, I guess. And, you know, like one day, fast fire rate, enjoying APCR, you know, me and my totally not being nice with a full premium loadout with the 12.8. But that's what it is. It's just, there's a couple of things that they can do to make the game a lot better. However, one thing that I do not approve of at all is going to skills, and they add a brand new skill to the game called Will Mechanic. 15% increase to Will Repair Speed. I would rather take General Mechanic over Will Mechanic by that point. Because why add a perk that only supports one line? That makes no sense to me. Why you would have
I agree.
one perk only supporting one line in the entire game for perks. Because it just by that point it's a wasted perk, just like Quick Learner. But now that they have the crew swaps, where you can now, you know, completely swap out your crews, transfer them over somewhere else, Quick Learner actually might be good, because that means if you have one of the experienced tanks, for instance, like the Demolisher, Tier 8 T-28 American Tank Destroyer, the Eradicator Tier 8 British heavy tank, or the Earthshaker Swedish tier 8 medium tank. Those tanks have got a 75% earn rate, and then you can put the 10% bonus, making that 85%, and then you take your premium commander, which is a 105% bonus experience every single match that you play for XP on the tank. So, you know, there's a couple of things that could be done to make it basically ease of life. Things to make it a little bit easier and make it to where we don't have to play an absolutely obsessive amount to earn back silver and completely and consistently change out equipment. You know, like for me, for instance, I'm always changing out equipment all the time. And I'm always on the grind, getting more silver, trying out new stuff. And then, yeah, just lots of brain farts. That's all it is. There was a couple of things that I wanted to cover today, but I can't remember a few of them. I should start writing them down. That way I can remember. But number
What's
one...
a good crew trainer?
Like, just a regular tier 8, regular premium tank. That could be a really good crew trainer. Personally, I would actually probably go after... T92 can be a pretty good crew trainer if you set it up right. It's a light tank. Along with that, the LPC, the M48A2 Patton, I actually don't recommend anyone to get this tank because the HE rounds are just phenomenally bad, but at the same time, they're super good. This tank actually surprised me a little bit because whenever you go over and you take a look at this, its module damage is 200. So 15 centimeters, so 150 millimeters. They have 203. This thing is only 3 module damage short. If you guys look at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see what I mean. Blade, mute it for a sec. But,
Okay.
yeah, crew trainer-wise, basically any tier 8, unless you have one of the actual crew trainer tanks. Like, whatever you feel comfortable in can be considered a crew trainer. For that.
Well, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a tank that's got, you know, like a 75% crew.
You already have the Eradicator. I got you the Eradicator forever ago. You just keep on forgetting that you have it. The tier 8 British. It's like the Carnivon Action X or the Paladin. The Eradicator. Other than that, though, I gotta say, like, with the Red Tigers update, the E100 buff, this is actually something that I was pretty stoked to see that they decided to actually add. But they did kind of mess up just a tad bit, and honestly, it's not like the biggest game-breaking thing that they've done with this mess up. Because over on PC, with the actual armor, the top plate here is actually 310, and instead of being 310 on console, it's 270. So the 270 with the new armor model for the E100, they actually did a really good job with the way that looks now. With that 270. So with standard rounds, effective 300 millimeters now compared to what it used to be. We'll jump all the way back at 250 with 274. So now with the most recent update, I should just go ahead and do public test. Yep. 270 loading the heat rounds. Once the E100 maxes out at 7 degrees of gun depression, it's yeah, it's some pretty decent armor right now. But the under cheek, it's just a weak spot anyways. Against standard rounds, 270 is going to bounce consistently. So it's like if they're loading premium, they're going to be pinning this. But the part that does suck is that the corner here is also 270 rather than 310. And that prevents... Like, 250 originally was just the big boo-boo on that position, so I gotta say that with what they did, this is actually turning out to be really good right now. The E75, with that 265 turret armor now, I put a match in it this morning, and I can definitely say that thing with that new turret armor is doing really, really good. The Holland Hound... Yeah, it's a good crew trainer for light tanks, but like versatility-wise, Daniel, whenever it comes down to like training your tanks, it's really whatever you feel comfortable in to play multiple matches in to be able to train your tanks. For me, for the longest time, I actually was dedicated to using the Krievets 1 as a dedicated crew trainer, and the IS-7. So like I would take it and I would throw it inside the 75% bonus crew trainers like the Eradicator and all the others, and then immediately after I would swap it over to my brain fart. Yeah, my brain fart. And I would go after just however much I could really put out inside of it to have consistently good matches. Because even if you're playing a tank, you know, that has really good experience bonuses, the thing is that whenever it comes down to it, depending on your performance is how much experience you're going to get for. So playing it inside your best tanks, playing it inside tanks you know, tanks that you feel comfortable in for crew training is kind of the best way to go. IS-7, the reason why is because of how I play my IS-7. It's hull down, it's fast. I basically only need 4 perks on the IS-7 to make it a very good tank. So 6 Sense, Track Mechanic, Off-Road Driving, and Situational Awareness on the IS-7 just with those perks. You're aggressive, you have the terrain resistance to get wherever you need to go, and then you put a lot of time into it. Like right now, there's 1 million experience on my IS-7. And along with that, if we head over to profile, I could go on Watt Stars, but I don't see a point in going to Watt Stars. I have 530 matches inside my IS-7 right now. 601 inside the Krievets. 654 in the E5. E5 I've had since day 1 of the game, essentially. Well, actually, day 3 of the game, because beta testers had a week of early access. But really, whenever it comes down to crew training, it's whatever you feel comfortable in because of how they changed it. But okay, actually, I want to jump back to Premium Commanders. Premium Commanders, no longer can they do what I wanted them to do originally. The way I looked at it is we're paying $20, we're paying $20 to $15 for a commander. You know, gold, like you pay that much for gold. They're 3,000 gold, 2,500 gold, and then you buy them. Premium Commanders originally, I was thinking like the 2 stars, so the hero compared to the premiums, or however they like to you know, say it for themselves. Have they, question, have they changed the turret armor recently? Of the IS-7? No. The most recent buff to the IS-7 was a little bit of dispersion buff, so they made it better. Along with that, they increased the reload, and they gave it the 1,200 horsepower engine. So this thing's actually extremely mobile now, and combined with that, it just has really good all-around statistics now. It's not feeling bad. Beforehand, it felt a little bit sluggish, but not anymore.
Why does he do that? He doesn't do that unless you're in here.
Why does who do what? Just kidding, mute it. Okay, but Commanders, originally I tried to jump on the forums and jump over on Discord talking about, you know, like Premium Commanders should have a benefit. You know, they should be able to respec freely and transfer freely. But now that they made the crew swap, being able to respec freely is no longer in the question anymore. It's gone. Because that means that you can transfer over to your dummy premium crew, respec, and then transfer back freely without ever needing to actually respec. So that, they basically threw it out of the water by doing the crew swaps. So now, what I want to see is them make it to where we can actually individually change out perks for 10 gold, rather than a full respec every single time where we have to, you know, essentially pay $1 every single time you want to respec a crew.
Right.
Which is just outrageous. Especially...
It is outrageous.
I kept tabs on it for a week and how many times I respec my crews to try out new builds, and it totaled out to 37 times. And that was about a month ago that I decided to do that, but 37 times... I
just had to do it.
In a week? Yeah.
I just had to do it just now. It cost me 60 gold.
6 perks, though. I mean, like, the less perks you have, the cheaper it is, though. But 37 times...
But still, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the way you gotta look at it, 37 times by 90... That's 3,330 gold that I spent that week in just respecking alone. So for me, that's kind of like, that's kind of expensive, you know? To be able to respec like that, I can actually go take a look here. Yeah, that cost me $15 to respec those 37 times. That's a decent chunk of money. I could have bought lunch for a day. I mean, don't look at the gold at the top right. Ignore that. Speaking of which, if you guys are missing out on the season pass, pop down your gamer tags or send me a crossplay friend request for Xbox only. I'm so sorry, everybody else. But keep in mind, I'm going to be choosing 3 random people completely at random, and you guys will get the ultimate season pass. So all you got to do is add me. I'll try and remember what name popped up that added me. Make sure you put it inside the comments for the live stream, and I'll go through and randomly select 3 people. It'll be completely at random. There's nothing needed. It's just going to be random. That's about it. Blade, is there anything that you would like to bring up with the state of the game over the past 3 months? Like, what is something you'd like to see changed?
Other than artillery get nerfed into the dirt.
Yeah, getting hit for 1,000 is not that fun. Especially whenever it's all the time. Okay, and a lot of people say it's not all the time. Okay, you guys don't realize, whenever you become a content creator for World of Tanks, people remember who you are, and then they focus you. It hurts. It hurts so much. That's why I
would like
to
to see them make
now.
cover a little more consistent.
Yeah?
You know, I mean, there's certain matches where, I mean, I know the difference between PC and console is huge, but I mean, we don't get half the cover that they get on PC, and I would like to see them add more cover.
Okay, I'd like to put into that. I don't feel that way. I don't, because I play on PC as well, and there's a lot of maps on PC that, sure, there's a couple of positions that are a lot different than console that you'll see inside the replays from like Locos replays or top tier replays, and you'll see these positions that they go to. But the thing is, everywhere else on the map, there's almost no cover. And not all
cover works the way it should either.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too. Some places you should be covered and you're not.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of clips that have been getting sent to me of like people shooting through rocks. One of them was over on White Wolf's Discord. I actually rewatched the recording and played it back frame by frame, and I watched the actual dispersion value of the shell actually went bottom left at the corner of the rock where their tracks were poking out. So what happened was they got tracked through a wall, but the fact is their tracks were slightly poked out, and the shell hit them in the tracks. And I had to play it frame by frame just to catch that, but I caught it, I saw them specifically get hit in the tracks. And I told them, it's like, oh, you got hit in the tracks.
And I have told you that it has happened to me, that I have been shot through rocks.
Yeah.
Where a guy his gun is sticking out through the rock.
There are a couple of areas in game, like if you're using high explosives, they kind of have an arc to them. And if you auto-lock somebody, your gun will actually, you can drop below a cliff and your gun will actually still be locked onto him. And if it's red, fire, because that means that the HE shell is on an arc trajectory and it's going to go over the mountain in front of you. You can do the same thing in some tier 5s as well. And there's a couple of them. So there's 2 tanks I want to play today on stream. There might be 3 or 4. But one's going to be the E100, the Type 5. And so Type 5 a while back got a really good buff. They bumped up its alpha, which originally I did complain about it, but after going back and looking through it again, it's actually the first buff that PC ever did to the tank, rather than the Type OK round, which has 192 penetration with 950 alpha, which I would actually much prefer to see, rather than the 1300 alpha big derp 85 pin. So yeah, I do have a full premium loadout inside my E100 just because, hey, I have premium time. I have an abundance of silver, and I'm playing the E100 to
Because
win.
I can.
Yeah, because I can. I guess we can say because I can. The
Because
246
I can.
standard pin, though, don't get me wrong. I do like to load a healthy amount of standards, but over the past couple of days, I'm loading a lot more premium inside this because I want to make sure that its statistics stay high enough. A lot of people are actually doing this right now. That way it doesn't get hit with another buff. Auto ricochet off light tanks, it's not really auto ricochet. So a lot of light tanks, people don't realize this, is that they're actually covered in spaced armor. For instance, the Sheridan, you actually want to aim a little bit more center mass than you do on the outskirts. If you look here, all the white is spaced armor, and there's points inside light tanks that, yeah, you're just shooting straight through spaced armor. This is American, by the way. This is button plants. But you're literally just hitting nothing but spaced armor whenever it comes down to that. So you need to aim a little bit closer in. Same thing about like the willed light tanks. Their hit boxes that they have, the wills that are in the way, it's a lot harder to see the hull armor, and that's kind of their advantage. So you always want to aim a little bit higher up and try and keep track of the turret, and the turret is your goal to hit more than the actual tank itself. And then you just hope that, you know, RNG is on your side for the day. I think that'd be the best way to say it. You know, if that helps you out, let me know. That'd be nice to know. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of moments that it, like, doesn't make a difference. But at least you tried. Oh, speaking of artillery and 1,000 damage, poor CS-59. With the T-92 hitting him for 1,009. You know, artillery, I've mentioned this before, and I don't care if people say that I'm wrong, because the thing is, artillery, if they're hitting you for 1,000 damage every single 24 seconds, or 27 seconds, or 30 seconds, you gotta think, if it's a splash for 1,000 damage, that means that if there was 3 of you next to each other, artillery has the highest DPM in the game by that point. And that's kind of scary to think. And speaking of 1,000 damage, E100, most recently buffed. Another thing is, a lot of people talk about, you know, just run a spa liner. Well, one of the biggest problems about artillery is that their penetration in the higher tiers is just way too high. So 120 millimeters of penetration. Keep track of your top armor in your tanks, and think of a heat round whenever it hits. It's just gonna go through. So spa liner is only defend against the explosive whenever it makes contact with the armor, but if it's a penetration, spa liner doesn't do anything. So you do want to be a little bit careful with that. You gotta love the elevation of German tanks. You really do. You cannot deny their elevation. They can aim so far up.
Yep.
Also, I do gotta make a shout out. Slap a Fish, thank you for the shout out. That was actually pretty awesome. Shaska coming up behind. Ouch. I forgot that he had the big gun.
Big gun.
Oh, he killed himself. Yeah, Slap a Fish, it was kind of funny. I was talking to him that morning, and he's like, you want me to make a shout out for him? Like, if you want to, you can. And next thing you know, all of a sudden I see, like, new subscriber. I laughed at it. Honestly, Slap a Fish, he's awesome. There's no denying that. And since I work rotating shifts, whenever I'm on a graveyard, I'm gonna have to start playing with again. If you guys didn't know, Slap the Fish does work nights, so he's usually on during the mornings.
Oh, I'm pushing. Let's this. Oh,
I would actually hold off on that push, just
Oh,
because it's
alright.
6 to 7
Since-
right now. Reserve those hit points.
medium's running down to the bottom. I'm taking our backside.
Okay. Compounds are 430U, Type 61. What's down low? That's the TVP. But the new player experience, I found out that they're actually putting players to play Cold War, which I don't think should be the starting point, because Cold War for newer players, I think that's a big no-go, just because of the fact, as of right now, there's a lot of people that play Cold War that are actually really good at the game. And they're sticking in Air 1 because there's no rockets. So you have this higher skill cap inside Air 1, and you're introducing new players against veterans. And that's kind of, they're wondering why they're struggling to retain new players. From my point of view, that actually could be one of the biggest reasons why they're struggling to retain new players, because they're putting them against all the super unis and veterans that are grinding out premium in Air 1. Well, grinding out silver in Air 1. Basically, new players getting farmed all day. And the way that originally it was used to counteract that was inside the lower tiers, you have less silver bonuses inside those lower tier tanks, and that was a way to help
Can
counteract
nobody
that.
cover me from the sides here?
Well, right now we're just in a bad spot. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just in a really bad spot. 3 to 5. I'm going to get hit with a heat round here in about 2 seconds.
I'm still being shot from behind.
Yeah, this is uncomfortable. And STB1 coming up from behind.
Yeah.
Good game, though. Good game. I mean, we took middle, we went. But yeah, for newer players, Air 1, I don't think is a good way to start out the game for them, because everything is super pricey. And then they see how much silver they make and how much XP they make. And then they see the cost of everything inside the Cold War. And then they think to themselves, oh, this is super, super grindy. I don't want to, you know, play a super grindy game. And they stop. But if they put them inside World War II rather than putting them straight in the Cold War and introduce them into the Tier 3 category, which is now where the new players actually start off, there's actually quite a bit of bots that you'll actually run into more than players. And I think bots is actually a better way to introduce somebody to the game rather than throwing them into a game mode that it's just pure chaos, it feels like 90% of the time for a new player. Because they have no idea what's going on. They don't know the positions of the maps. And then everyone else that plays Air 1 consistently, they know where to go. They know what to do. And these new players, I mean, imagine playing 10 games with that damage resistance bonus that you get. And then after those 10 games, suddenly you don't feel like a tank anymore. You're dying outright every single time you're pulling a corner. For me, like if I was a new player and I jumped into a game like that, I would not want to continue playing.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't start yet. I don't have a commander on this. Yeah.
Well, fix it. Remember,
I am.
you don't even need the transformations anymore. You just skill swap, which can get really confusing real fast because you'll forget where all your perks are.
Right? Let's see. Where was he at? Is he this one? Yeah, it was this one. Yeah, I am good. Alrighty.
So I think I know what we need to do. Type 5, I actually want to play this and show it off just because Type 5 is a very fantastic tank. If you can play this thing right, it is devastating on close quarters combat and assisting the team. Other than that, we're going to jump down to the E75 and then the King Tiger and then slowly move down for the tanks that were recently buffed for the Red Tiger season. So it's actually pretty cool that Red Tiger came out, yet there's no red skins for the Tigers.
Either you need to reset your headset or I need to reset mine. One of the two.
It might be... Let's just both do it.
You're breaking up.
We'll both do it.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Fred, that's kind of the whole reason why I'm jumping up and saying, you know, thank you, everybody that came over from Slappy Fish's channel to support me as well. It's actually very nice of him to make a shout out for me. Okay, and as I have massive brain farts. Well, yeah, you heard everyone clearly, Yuki, but you know how Xbox is and headsets. Sometimes your headset messes up, things happen, and then you gotta reset it. Speaking of which, my Razer headset, after 5 years of continuous use, the bearings inside of it decided to finally break. So the plastic on the outside finally came apart. 5 years. I actually want to buy another one of them, but they discontinued the ones that I like. So I might have to go after, like, Corsair. Blade, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. There we go.
I am on your 6.
Nice. Andre the Giant. And then Andre, I actually kind of giggled. They buffed the penetration, but they didn't buff its DPM. And I remember, Blade, you probably remember this too. I mentioned that it like, rather than penetration, it really needs DPM more than penetration. And then less than a week later, whenever they did the, I can't remember what lines they buffed, or they introduced the Andre buff. It wasn't even a part of the buff. It was French. No, not French. It was right after the French. What ones did they buff right after the French? It was recent. I remember talking about him. Can't remember. But they buffed Andre again because its DPM was still bad. It was dying a whole lot, and it was still struggling. And then once they buffed the DPM, it finally got back, and it's starting to do a lot better. Okay, 50B, can you please? Thank you. So type 5 right here, I love this spot just because you have this little corner right here and you can overextend your front armor. They're not going to pin that either. The only way they're going to pin it is if they shoot through this little crack here to hit your flat spot. Other than that, if they try to shoot your actual front armor, it's going to do nothing. Unless it's artillery that's going to hit you for 1,000 damage, which is now 2 times a day on stream. And then running a full-on repair build along with advanced repairs as the equipment, we're able to move and get stuff back up extremely quickly. That is okay. This premium round is a premium AP round. I will put that right through you. And 7-1 is shooting, is that standards? I think he's shooting standards. There we go. 300, like, AP penetration is absolutely phenomenal. And there we go, a decent chunk of 700 from artillery. And see, super heavies, they suffer more from artillery than anything else. I am going to be talking about statistic-based buffing in a video as well coming up pretty soon. Because I find statistic-based buffing to be completely pointless in many ways. Just because buffing by statistics is not viable. One of the biggest reasons why statistic buffing is not viable, take a look at the Italian heavies. The Italian heavies specifically are probably one of the best examples because new players, you know, the average player is not going to be playing those tanks because they're very difficult to handle.
Where are you at?
Dealing with a autoloader machine. Ooh, that is very sad.
Oops.
Let's go for an overmatch. Yeah, dude, Pepsi, it's actually nice to be live. I haven't been streaming a whole lot just because of work and everything else, and you know, not exactly having the most positive things to
there's
say.
somebody shooting me from behind. Please help that.
If I was able to help that, I would. All I know is artillery hurts quite a bit. Wow, I took a beating. 8 hit points left and I'm still rolling. I still got a gun. Oh yeah. Now, just working a lot. My hands have been torn up, but not as much anymore. I got this lotion. That's original healing lotion. It's uracane for extremely dry skin. Yeah. Silver moisturizer help keep protected and healing. So it's like an antibiotic lotion. It's actually really good for the hands.
That was a decent game.
I'm not bleeding as much as I used to because of it. At 4,160 damage. Yeah, see, Type 5, it's not a bad tank. Even the big derp gun is fantastic, but not having an AP round on that big derp gun does kind of make it harder to play because I like to do overmatch. You know, for instance, like an E5V side scraping, I'm not going to pin him side scraping with heat rounds. I'll just be able to splash him with high explosive. While if I had an AP round, you could actually overmatch the 44mm plate on the side armor underneath the underneath the E5.
I blocked more damage than you did.
You know what? No. Alright, okay, Type 5. Alright, Blade, Type 5. What is the one thing that Type 5 is known for?
It's high explosive?
No, getting shot at by heat rounds.
Well, that too.
You play the Type 5, they don't shoot you with standards, they shoot you with premium. Like, you want to talk about a premium magnet, Type 5.
Well, I found the Andre's pretty much a heat magnet too sometimes.
It can be, yes. Derp. It is a derp. Up next, E75. Yes, there is 30 premium rounds inside the 6 high explosives. Whenever I play my E75, I don't play this to be the nice guy inside the queue. I play my E75 to be competitive and go for the win. Plus, I have all the advantages on this account with 292 days of premium left, 110,000 gold, 10 million silver. And yeah, just the full-blown advantage. I go crazy with it. Believe me, that gold, by the way, will drop tremendously over the next couple of days because of everything that I do.
I gotta put camo on my tech tree.
Oh, don't worry about putting camo on. Grab it, let's rock. You're fine.
Okay, no problem. I got this.
Yeah, full send it. AMX 30
all the way.
Stock. No camo, nothing. Send it.
Shit.
You'll be fine.
AMX 30. What?
I got the MX 30 the other day. It's stock. I've been playing it. I actually don't mind it stock, but my first match in it, I played it stock with no crew, nothing on it. I had consumables, and that was it. Patty, honestly, with the German upgrades, they're appreciated. They really are. It's nice to see Tiger 2s on the field actually being able to bounce and be competitive again. While beforehand, I would see a Tiger 2 and think to myself, oh, I'll worry about him after I kill everyone else because he's easy to take care of. Or if he decides to overextend, can kill. But now, the way that they're put together, I'm actually really enjoying going against them because they are taking
Lakeville.
a beating right now. Because a while back I did a tips and tricks video, and one of the tanks I showcased in that was the captured Tiger, the tier 8 American. That thing with that armor, it's amazing. However, against 300 millimeters of penetration, they do suffer just because, you know, the entire front of the tank goes green. What I mean by green, completely pinnable. So if you're against tier 10s, you got to play a little bit different. You still got to worry that right above your tracks, that under armor is 25 millimeters, so it can be overmatched by everything except for a 75 millimeter and lower. So, you know, be a little bit careful on that. But other than that, the Tigers, the Tiger 2s, they are performing fantastic right now. I would say that they're probably in the best state they've been in 7 years. Honestly, a lot of tanks kind of fell off the board once gold rounds got converted to silver. I can definitely say that. Oh, Conqueror, WZ1-4, Maushin, M103. M103s can be very scary. But with that 260, yeah, the 265 that they bumped this up to, I actually feel comfortable sitting in front of a 340
heavy over there.
What is the CBR doing? Plus, have you guys noticed that with the Germans right now, they're actually high rolling a lot more consistently than they normally have been? Because normally I'm not seeing this many high rolls with my Germans. 505, like not a single roll yet has been below 500. I kind of feel like they bumped up the RNG chances right now for the Germans for the on track.
Can't really get a shot from here without exposing myself too much.
Oh yeah, you got the turret armor.
There we go.
I feel so bad that I know about that. You can actually penetrate the gun mantle of the M103 if you have more penetration than I think it's 256 millimeters. Here I am taking all this time to aim and mess up.
I can't pin that Type 4 heavy.
In for the hatch. We got premium.
I did aim for that, and it ricocheted. Oh, that went right over the top. Jesus. Did I get on the other side of you?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and back off and relocate a little bit to the left here. We are kind of funneling them inward here, but I am low health, so I do want to be a little bit careful in how I'm playing. The King Tiger as well right now at the buff, like, dude, they're performing really good. The 7-second reload that it has right now, it's not too bad premium pin as well. Like, they are definitely performing really good right now. Dude, when was the last time you saw Lakeville in a fight like this? I don't think I've ever seen Lakeville like this before. Dude, Germans, as of right now, even a little while ago, I've always enjoyed my German tanks. But as of right now, with this most recent patch, like, the E75, in my opinion, was the best in the line, just because of what it can do, and everything that it brings to the field. It's slower. It had a mobility buff a few years ago, which kind of brought it back into the meta, compared to what it used to be like. But with the way that they have it put together right now, and the 265 turret armor increase, like, it may not be a tremendous amount that they buffed it by, but 265, that went from an effective like 310 millimeters of hull down armor to an effective like 335 to 345. So even against tier 10 heat rounds, they only have like a 45% chance to pin, and they can still bounce. So right now, I can definitely say that with what they've done to the Germans, they definitely did bring them back into the meta. And if those King Tigers and Tiger 2s are top tier, they'll be performing just fine. They're not going to be overpowered. They're not going to be outrageously outstanding and taking control of every single situation. They're going to be there to handle it. And yeah, I can definitely say that I'm actually probably going to be buying back the Tiger 2 specifically just because of what they've done. Alrighty, so now we're going to be jumping down to tier 8. Let's go check out the King Tiger. Patty, that's all I use on it right now. That small gun. At 9.3 second reload right now on it. It is phenomenally good right now. But it's kind of hard to use the little gun whenever you're so used to having that heat round, because heat round just works better against hull down tanks. And with the big boy gun, you can actually overmatch some spots on tanks, and it's just the difference between them is night and day. Like, you go fast fire rate, 3000 DPM, or you go big boy gun and still maintain 3000 DPM. Actually, I think the big gun has more DPM. Now that I think about it, it still has more DPM.
Yeah, I gotta find a commander here real quick.
You see, Blade takes a year
on it. I'm putting it. Yeah, I tell you, man, you just never cut me any slack.
No, never. Gotta keep you on your toes.
And I'm old. Leave me alone.
He farts dust.
I will take as much time as I feel I need to take. And if you don't like it, then tough.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Man, I haven't played this one in a minute.
Frankie, no, I have not. I do think a while back. No, PC buffed it a while back. Yeah, PC buffed the power to weight on the Super Pershing about 5-6 months ago. So I wonder if console will be doing it.
I do not own the Super Pershing anymore.
Why?
I would have to buy it.
You're missing out. Another thing we could talk about is matchmaking. You know, we could bring up matchmaking. They should implement the 3-5-7 rule for matchmaking. Or the 4-5-6. Because I've had a lot of games where literally, like, we're the only 8s, and there's 13 tier 10s per team. Like this lineup right here. Yeah, there's quite a bit of 10s in both teams. Thing is, if we take a look at the list here, Type 5, if he's running the 14, he'll be able to pin us without a problem. If he's running the 15, he'll be able to pin us without a problem. M48 Patton, if they load the heat rounds, no problem. M60, no problem. 140, no problem. 430U, no problem. T100LT will struggle. 4005 won't. T54E1s, they will struggle. because does the T-54E1 have a heat round? I can't remember.
We're gonna get
off the top of my head.
We're gonna get destroyed.
No, we got this. We'll be fine. We got this, Blade. Let's just head up to the back wall and do a proxy spot.
Oh, I've been spotted. I've been spotted. Don't shoot me.
In all honesty, though, the game is in a way better state than what it was about a year ago. 6.0
They are trying
dropped off a
really,
lot.
really hard to shoot me.
I know, Blade. There we go, T-54E1. Let's go find out if this guy's got heat rounds.
Well, hang on, I'm coming. Ever so slowly.
I can't remember if he's got heat rounds or not. Don't pull the corner. Do not pull it at all. Oh, here I am shooting early. I have a lot of light tanks. I do have the Tusk. I got the Tusk like forever ago. I got it before they removed them. Alright, Blade, pull on the T-54. I think if we can get head-to-head, we should be okay.
Ow. Hit my fuel tank.
Probably had no reason to pull on him right there. I just took a shot that I didn't need to take. $4,005, Borask.
Yeah.
The Tusk, though, that thing is such a meme. You'll sit there and you'll aim for 5 minutes at somebody, and then you'll finally fire. And then, rather than hitting them, you still hit the building off in the distance that's like 10 meters away from the target. Nowhere near your target that you were aiming at. Okay,
I think I tracked him.
Stay right here, Blade. I'm gonna push in. I'm gonna push in and provide view range. It's Blade. Blade. B-L-A-D-E. It's 270.
Ow.
I'm gonna struggle to pin that. Well, stop getting spotted.
Impressive kill. Leave me alone.
No, I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna give you so much crap now. Gonna want to wait for the right time. Every single time he looks to the right, I'll be able to put shots into his cheek. Okay, so we are outside of his view range because we got despotted.
I can't pin him. But I can track him.
If you can keep them tracked, that's all you really need to do.
Enemy got us in their sights.
Should be able to pin his hatch. Yep.
Penetration.
And there we go. As I was talking about the heat rounds, they will literally just rip right through the turret armor. Almost no matter the angle. So you gotta play really, really passive whenever you're bottom tier inside those. Blade, if you do load the premium, you can pin the hatch at the Type 5. And alrighty, you guys, jumping back at it one more time. 3 people, add me in game. I'm just going to be choosing randomly. Put a comment down in the live stream after it's done and over with. And I will choose randomly 3 people who's going to get the Ultimate Season Pass if you guys want to get your hands on that Czechoslovakian Tier 7. Xbox only, by the way, so sorry, PlayStation. You know, that 53 TP is actually not a really, like, that's not a bad tank at all. It's actually a really, really, really good
I
tier 8.
killed 2 tier 10s.
Yeah, that was
That's gotta be good for something.
Honestly, with the way that they put these Tigers together,
I was
they are
third.
performing really good right now.
I was third that time, finally.
First
16
class.
direct hits. It's best in class. Best.
The
First
50
class mastery,
yeah,
yeah.
the 53 TP, dude. That thing is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, don't get me wrong. The hatch on the left side is just a big cancerous spot, and it sucks. But that's about it. Patty, I am thinking about getting a PlayStation 5. Right now, I put in for a sweepstakes. I got 5,000 entries in it to try and get a Series X. So we'll see if I win that. 5,000 out of 18,000 entries. So I have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right now. It's a pretty high odds.
Alright.
Other than that, you guys, it was nice to actually stream on YouTube for a while. Scrap Metal News. Scrap Metal News is something that I want to try and do monthly, but you know how it is. Just there's not a lot of stuff that they do monthly to make it worth jumping on and checking out things. But we were able to go over commanders. One crew skill that they added that is completely useless because they literally added it for one line, and you're better off taking General Mechanic over it because General Mechanic makes it to where you can actually swap that crew between other tanks without having a useless crew skill. Other than that, you guys have a fantastic day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is that you were catching this. And until next time, you guys have a fantastic
Peace out,
time.
people.
Don't forget to leave your gamer tag in the comments section. Add me in game. I'm going to be selecting 3 random people, Xbox only, for the Ultimate Season Pass. And yeah, you guys have a great time. I'm out of here.